Now at 9, how a Southeast Kansas Fire Department is changing their work schedule. Plus, Missouri's Attorney General signs a letter warning pharmacy chains against mailing so-called abortion pills to residents in state.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy sits one-on-one with President Biden as the nation creeps closer to a potential default. Can the two leaders find some common ground? I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with the latest coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. More fire stations in the 4 states are moving from 24-hour shifts to a new and more effective schedule. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
The Neodesha Fire Department is making department history by changing the work schedules for firefighters for the first time since 1980. Firefighters will now work 48 hours and get 96 hours off per week.
It allows staff members to not only not have to pick up a full shift if somebody were to be sick or on vacation, but the employees can divide it between themselves.
The change in schedule is a solution to curb overtime and budgetary issues.
He would not only have to pick up the 24 hours working, but he would also have to pick up the 24 hours of call time. So a lot of time it wasn't very convenient, especially people with children at home.
With this new schedule, Neodesha Fire Department is able to have 4 personnel on shift rather than their usual 2. And firefighters are able to truly decompress after a stressful week.
Everybody's meshing very well, and we got our morning duties done in a fraction of the time because we had more people to help.
With 6 kids and a fiance, Firefighter Fur is thankful for the new schedule.
The time with your family, it gives you such a balance that you look forward to both. You look forward to coming in here because you had that time with your family. You feel fulfilled at home.
Even though this is a big adjustment for the department, they're proud to serve the community more effectively while enjoying a healthy home life. Reporting in Neodesha, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The Neodesha Fire Department's new schedule started last Monday. Missouri has signed on to a letter with 19 other state attorney generals warning CVS and Walgreens that they could face legal consequences if they sell abortion pills by mail in those states. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey says the sale of abortion pills by mail would violate federal law and the state's abortion laws. Bailey didn't specify legal action he would take, but said he would enforce the laws written. Oklahoma and Arkansas have also signed onto the warning letter. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy joins us with the first look at the weather.
Yeah, it actually turned out to be at least a little bit warmer for us today. Still cold, but we're going in the right direction. 32, so we finally hit the freezing mark, 3:53 this afternoon, but we started at 14 during the morning hours. Average highs 47 and 26 for this time of the year. We do still have a lot of clouds outside, and if you look at the radar, you can see the snow. Springfield down toward Branson. None of that is reaching the ground, but as you get a little bit farther south, look at the ice that is going on. You got snow, you got sleet, you got freezing rain, you got rain, but this is going to stay just south of the region as we go into the overnight hours and may clip our southern counties. All right, it's cold again. Upper 20s right now. We're going to continue to drop back as we go through the overnight hours. I think an overnight low around 24 degrees, but we are going to warm up over the next few days. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
A man is dead and another is injured after a car crash in Wilson County, Kansas yesterday. It happened on U.S. Route 400 northwest of Fredonia. Kansas State Police report that James White Jr. of Parsons was driving east on 400 when he crossed the center line. The other vehicle, driven by a man from Larned, Kansas, was headed west. Troopers said the second driver tried to avoid the collision by getting into the other lane. However, White's vehicle crossed back into those lanes and hit him head-on. The state of Kansas is asking homeowners in need of financial assistance to apply now since the federal program will be ending soon. The Kansas Homeowners Assistance Fund was created to support homeowners struggling financially during the pandemic. The program is federally funded and most of those funds have already been handed out. Once they receive enough applications to finish off the remaining funds, it will start closing down. If you are at least 30 days past due on mortgage and or property payments, you can receive assistance. Another Kansas assistance program has been closed. The state has officially shut down the emergency rental assistance program. It was also federally funded and handed out more than $290 million in relief to more than 82,000 Kansans. Officials say the program helped prevent thousands of evictions and utility disconnections during the pandemic. Supernova Creations in Baxter Springs is just one of the many small businesses that have been busy making Chiefs and Eagles merchandise, from tumblers, clothes, jewelry, and more. Jessica Moore is busy with her online sales and small booths in local shops.
I really like the Chiefs. My husband's a big Chiefs fan. He's now a big Sky Moore fan because obviously our last name's Moore. So we've been sporting the Sky Moore jerseys and the Travis Kelce jerseys.
Moore says Friday is the last day to order merchandise if you want it by the Super Bowl. High stakes talks with low expectations as Speaker Kevin McCarthy meets with President Biden at the White House. The two have been at odds over what to do about the federal debt ceiling and what possible cuts could be made to government spending. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with more on the talks where we could go from here.
Speaker Kevin McCarthy made the trek from Capitol Hill to the White House to meet with President Biden Wednesday as a debt ceiling debate and budget standoff loom large over the nation's capital.
We have different perspectives, but we both laid out some of our vision of where we'd want to get to. And I believe after laying both of out, I can see where we can find common ground.
In his first sit down with President Biden as the new speaker, McCarthy is pushing for deep spending cuts, though it's unclear what will satisfy the hard-right members of his party. In exchange, the speaker will deliver the needed votes to avoid a default.
It is right, appropriate, and entirely normal that our need to raise the debt limit would be paired with negotiations regarding Democrats' runaway printing and spending.
President Biden and most Democrats say it's reckless of Republicans to use the debt ceiling as a bargaining chip.
Speaker McCarthy doesn't have a plan, so he is not really negotiating. And the clock is ticking.
Despite all the big talk, neither side has released a proposed budget. The White House says the president's will come in March. House Republicans are looking at April.
What Biden is trying to do in the case of McCarthy is to put the pressure on him. All right, you want to cut the budget. What specifically you're proposing to cut?
The Treasury Secretary said she can keep the U.S. from default until roughly June. That is when the nation will no longer be able to pay its debts without some congressional action. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes us time to honor another four-state hero. Alfred Johnson served in the U.S. Army from 1941 to 1945. The Farlington, Kansas native was stationed in Europe. We salute Sergeant Alfred Johnson, a four-state hero. Coming up, Tyre Nichols is laid to rest.
Friends and family say a final goodbye to Tyre Nichols Wednesday. I'm Steve Harrigan in Memphis. That story ahead.
Family, friends, and supporters gathered at the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church today to honor the life of Tyre Nichols following his fatal encounter with the Memphis police back in January. The death reignited calls for police reform from the family and activists across the country. Next week, the Nichols family will attend President Biden's State of the Union address. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan has more from Memphis.
In the city that Dr. King lost his life, not far away from that balcony, you beat a brother to death. There's nothing more insulting and offensive.
Mourners from across the country say their final goodbyes to Tyre Nichols as loved ones lay him to rest in Memphis Wednesday. Among those in attendance, Vice President Kamala Harris and the family of George Floyd. Family members say they will always remember Nichols as a fun-loving, skateboarding dad who marched to the beat of his own drummer.
On the night of January 7th, my brother was robbed of his life, his passions, and his talents, but not his light.
Nichols' funeral service coming 5 days after the city of Memphis released video showing police attacking him after a traffic stop last month. The 29-year-old died on January 10th, 3 days after that brutal beating. The five, now former officers, seen on body cam video, hitting, pepper spraying, and tasing Nichols, are all facing several charges, including second-degree murder. So far, a total of 7 officers and 3 members of the fire department have been fired.
As Vice President of the United States, we demand that Congress pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Joe Biden will sign it. And we should not delay, and we will not be denied. It is non-negotiable.
The family continues to call for more accountability and transparency. In Memphis, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Chief Meteorologist Doug Ketty is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, it's National Signing Day. We'll learn which local high school athletes are moving on to the collegiate level.
Well, definitely turned out to be another cold one for us today, but that is going to be changing as we go, especially into the weekend. We still have a lot of clouds out there right now. Nice shot to Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Melted off a lot of ice that we had mainly south of I-44 today, with a little bit of sunshine and also temperatures right around freezing. Now it's cold right now. It's 26 in Nevada. It's 29 in Neosho. It's 28 at Grand Lake. Parsons is down to about 25 degrees, and we still have the Arctic air in place, but it's starting to retreat. So as this retreats, then we get to start to warm up a little bit as we go through the next few days. All right, outside right now, we're sitting at 28. Not much of a wind chill. Feels like 23 with a west-southwesterly wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Through the night, we drop back to about 24. Clouds through the night, but we break out and we start seeing some sunshine as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow. All right, you can see all the clouds. It is clearing in our far northwestern counties. Look at the snow. Springfield, Branson, down through parts of Arkansas. Now, most of that is not reaching the ground. It is evaporating before it reaches the ground. But look at this. You got snow. In the purple, you got sleet. In the pink, you got freezing rain. In the green, you have rain. And this ice storm extends all the way back down through parts of Texas, where they've been dealing with that for quite some time. So when we see all those precipitation types, it's kind of interesting on how it breaks down. So if you get rain, it's above 32 from the clouds all the way to the ground. Freezing rain, it's above 32, and the rain hits the ground, and it freezes because the ground is below 32. Sleet starts as rain, and then the raindrops freeze, and that's when you get the little ice pellets. And then, of course, snow, it's below 32 from the top all the way down to the bottom. So that's, we always see that in the winter months. And, of course, we've picked up a lot of sleet in our southern counties over the past couple days. Now, the sleet tonight only creeps into our very far southern counties. Everybody else is going to be dry. We're going to start the day with some clouds. But as we go to about the noon hour, look at this. We break out. We see partly sunny skies. Temperatures are going to be sitting near 40, which is great. We go into the mid-40s during the afternoon. As we go into tomorrow night, it's still going to be cold. We'll get northerly winds back, and this drops us upper teens to near 20 degrees. Friday's always good heading into the weekend. Look at the winds. They switch back to the south. We warm up right around 40 degrees for an afternoon high, which, hey, we'll definitely take. Here's your day planner for you tomorrow. 25 to start. 39 by noon, high of 45. We back down to about 43 by 5 p.m. And then we start to warm things up as we go into the weekend. 52 Saturday, 60 on Sunday, maybe a few showers by Monday. It gets a little bit stormy again as we head into next week, of course. In the second half hour, we're going to take a little closer look at that of what is to come down the road.
I know that soon as we saw the 7-day, there were a ton of smiles in their living rooms looking at that.
Yeah, that's about a 40-degree swing.
Yeah, seeing that 60 on Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Doug.
Yep.
Coming up, what a new study shows about the productive benefits of working remotely. While it took some adjusting, the pandemic taught many of us it's possible to do our jobs from home. But a new study is revealing just how much time the average employee is saving by not commuting to the office. Fox News' Ted Linder takes a closer look at how people are choosing to spend their newfound free time.
While the topic of working from home can be polarizing, a new study from the National Bureau of Economic Research finds employees who don't commute often spend the time they would be traveling to the office working instead. According to researchers, working from home saves the average American about 55 minutes of traveling per day. But while the average person dedicated 40% of their saved time for doing extra job assignments, about 34% was devoted to leisure activities like exercising and reading. And 11% was committed to childcare.
People have learned that if you can work remotely, a lot of things can get done, and you can balance your personal and your work life better in many situations.
Besides creating a smoother work-life balance for many people, working fully remote or doing a hybrid scenario also saved people money on transportation. But while the study found remote work had people working more, business experts say not being in the office has made some people nervous about how their bosses view their productivity.
One thing that remote workers suffer from is that nobody sees when they do their work. So there has been a study that showed that people engage in increasing spontaneous one-on-one video meetings simply to make sure that they're being recognized for being present, for being engaged.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
The Federal Reserve gave Wall Street a reason to cheer today. The central bank announced it will raise interest rates 0.25%. That's a fraction of the massive 0.75% raises it has implemented in recent months. The Fed pointed to recent data on wage growth and falling prices on consumer goods and energy as reasons for the reduced hike. Up next, we'll learn how scientists are looking to resurrect a species of bird that's been extinct for hundreds of years. As dead as a dodo, no more. The odd-looking flightless bird that lived in Mauritius has been extinct since the late 17th century. Now a team of scientists wants to bring them back. This bold initiative will incorporate advances in ancient DNA sequencing, gene editing technology, and synthetic biology. They hope the project will open up new techniques to bird conservation. All right, guys, the Jurassic Park isn't too far off right now. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. A new Christian school opening up in Joplin this year. We'll learn why its founders felt the new option was important. Plus,
the FBI searched President Biden's vacation home for more classified documents. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with what the White House has to say coming up.
A new local Christian school is now enrolling in Joplin for the fall. KOAM Shagun Bomdali has more.
Pleasantville Christian School is an elementary school that serves students from pre-K to 6th grade. The school will focus on all core content with a biblical aspect.
Areas we will also focus on social emotional health and social emotional learning, meaning we'll teach self-regulation and kindness and compassion and really all of those emotions that go with it. We'll focus on daily mindfulness work, and we're also going to be integrating the 1776 curriculum that focuses on civics and American history, starting with pre-K all the way up to 6th grade.
Quesada says school choice was a huge driver for starting the new school.
As my child and her friends grow, we are seeing that there is not a lot of school choice in this area. And so we decided to move forward with opening a school to support the students in our area and the kids in our area and to allow more school choice in the Joplin community and surrounding areas.
One pre-K teacher says kids come first.
Just let them be kids, but also learn and grow each day and teach them to be kind and loving to each other and be good in the community and to love Jesus and just work with them any way I can to help them grow as humans.
Amanda New says she has a passion to see kids grow.
I'm going to be bringing my two children. I have a 3-year-old and a son that will be going into the 3rd grade next year, and so with that I get to see them grow and I get to be with them, and I also get to be a part of something that helps other families because I have the passion of my own children of this, that I think that that'll be great because I want the best for them. I'm going to want the best for your children as well.
Reporting in Joplin, Shagun Bomdali, KOM News.
To find out more about Pleasantville, you can find more information on our website at KOAMNewsNow.com. The Friends of Miami Public Library are trying to get a library partnership with the program started by a country music legend. Dolly Parton's Imagine Library helps provide books to kids in dozens of states and 4 other countries. The Friends group put together a video showing how the program would benefit the kids of Ottawa County.
We want to give every child in our community the chance. We want to fight poverty and ignorance and all of the things so that they have opportunities. They are not limited, and that as they grow up, they will have a library at their own home, even if they can't come to the library.
The group is asking people to share the video on their Facebook pages. Pitt State is hosting a new art exhibit centered around light. The exhibit, titled Dip Hole, is a unique light installation created by artist Kevin Mercer. The university today hosted a reception for Mercer as the exhibit was opened up to the public.
This is an installation. It's an interactive installation featuring lights and miniature computers called Arduinos, and arcade buttons and sensors and knobs and things, so that the viewer is able to interact with the work more fully. It's lit in red and blue. It's meant to sort of represent the way our media comes to us over television.
The Dip Hole exhibit will be on display through May. A new study finds a correlation between the brains of obese people and patients with Alzheimer's disease. Researchers in Montreal found that gray matter atrophied in similar ways, suggesting that losing weight could slow down cognitive decline. In a study development for sitting president, the FBI conducted another search of President Biden's property. Today's search is the third one since the classified documents were found at the president's former office in November. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reports on the investigation.
We've been fully cooperative. The president's been fully cooperative.
Spokesman Ian Sams says the White House is being transparent after the FBI searched the president's vacation home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, Wednesday morning. Investigators were looking for classified documents.
They went through the Rehoboth Beach House and no classified marked documents were found.
The 3.5-hour search was planned and coordinated with the president's attorneys. It comes nearly 3 months after the president's personal lawyers first discovered a set of classified items at the Penn Biden Center in Washington. FBI agents searched the president's former office after that initial finding in November. Then last month, the FBI did another search at President Biden's Wilmington, Delaware home after his attorneys found more classified materials in his house and garage.
He's moving quickly to give them access to his home in Wilmington, to give access to his home in Rehoboth so they can do a full search, so that they're able to get access to the information so that they can move ahead in their review.
But the timeline has raised questions from critics who argue the investigation lacks urgency.
This is hardly timely since you first discovered classified material in November.
And the White House is facing growing calls for accountability.
I really think the White House should really give us what are these documents, why were they there? And the American public's not going to rest till they get that.
Wednesday's search was done on the day Special Counsel Robert Hur officially began his job overseeing the investigation into President Biden's handling of classified documents. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
A bit later, good news for the monarch butterfly.
It's a butterfly boom. I'm Marianne Rafferty with a look at the growing population of Western monarchs. Stunning biologists. That's coming up.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a cold one for us today. Once again, temperatures, we only made it up to the freezing mark, but we are making progress, at least better than what we have seen over the past several days. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, look at our temperatures. We're mainly sitting upper 20s right now. We're going to drop back, low to mid 20s for overnight lows. Not quite as cold as what we saw this morning, but we still have the Arctic air in place. It is starting to retreat, which is great news. That means as we head toward the weekend, temperatures are going to start to warm back up. Currently outside sitting at 28, feels like 23 with a very light west southwesterly wind at about 5. Through the overnight hours, we slide back to about 24, and then partly sunny skies back to 33 as we go through the daytime hours for us tomorrow. Still a lot of clouds. We do have some snow that is popping up on the radar. Springfield to Branson. This is actually not reaching the ground. It's actually evaporating before it hits the ground, but it's still low enough it picks up on the radar. And then you got the ice that is ongoing down through Arkansas, parts of Oklahoma, stretches back through Texas. This has caused a ton of problems over the past several days. Now, this is going to get very close to us, but it's mainly going to stay to our south as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Then way out west, we have storm systems stacking up, and that's going to give us plenty of action by the time we get into the second half of next week. All right, let's look at tonight. You can see a little bit of pink in our southern counties, so maybe a little bit of light sleet in parts of Delaware County or Benton County, but everybody else is going to stay dry. We do start with a lot of clouds in the morning, and then once we go through the morning hours, by noon, about 40 degrees, we start to get plenty of sunshine during the afternoon. Look at the afternoon, 46 in Chanute, 45 Bonita, 43 in Bentonville, Lamar up to about 44 degrees. We get northerly winds tomorrow night, so it does cool back down, upper teens to near 20 degrees. And then Friday, a little bit cooler, but still not bad. High temperatures right around 40 degrees. All right, 25 to start, 39 by noon. We're back down to 43 by 5. High temp right around 45 degrees. But look at this. Check out the weekend. Saturday, we're going to have a lot of clouds, but we go into the mid-50s for highs. A little bit more sunshine by Sunday, and look at this. We push 60. On Monday, we go into the mid-60s. We do get a front late Monday that may give us a random shower, but I'm really going to focus a little bit more on this storm system. A bigger storm system moves in by next Thursday that we'll have to keep our eyes on. All right, 45 for us tomorrow, 41 on Friday, 52 Saturday, 60 on Sunday, a couple evening showers on Monday, and then rain chances, maybe some snow chances late next week heading into Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we'll worry about those chances once we get there, but for the next 4 or 5 days, we're going to enjoy that weather.
Yeah, the weekend looks great.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, Doug. Planting more trees may be able to help prevent heat-related deaths, according to a research model of 93 European cities. Increasing tree cover up to 30% could lower the temperature by an average of 0.4 of a degree. Coming up in sports, local high school football standouts signed to continue their careers in college. Jacob Leonard has a signing day coverage from Joplin, Pittsburgh, Webb City, and more.
Well, today is Football National Signing Day. All across the area, local players signed today to continue their careers at the college level. And we got a lot of different stops, but we're starting at Joplin High School, where today 5 student athletes signed to move on to the next level. Now, 4 of those 5 will play football in college. Luke Gunn signs to play at Bethel College. Receiver Terrence Gibson is going the JUCO route to play at Independence Community College. Pretty cool here. Brothers Drew and Draven Van Gilder have been together their whole lives. They're going to stay together, both signing today to play at Truman State University.
It's unbelievable to have someone that you've grown up with to be on the same level as you and have the same intensity and competitiveness as you do, and it's just incredible how much we're able to push each other.
I think it's really cool that we get to do that because I think in both of our heads it's us always wanting to be the best. You know, one of us wanting to be better than the other, better than the guy next to us. I think it really developed the mentality of us wanting to be the best that we can really be.
At Pittsburgh High School, 3 football players signed today to continue their careers in college. All 3 of them are going Division II, and all 3 will play in the MIAA. And Jackson McKechnie is headed to Emporia State. McKechnie is an all-state punter for the Purple Dragons. Now, the other 2 guys are staying teammates. J.J. White and Jackson Turnbull are joining the football program at Fort Hays State. Turnbull is actually going to be a 2-sport athlete for the Tigers and play baseball as well.
My first year there, so kind of juggle both the sports and figure out how I'm going to handle that. And hopefully by the end of my playing career, I'm all-conference player. That's what I'm shooting for.
They got a lot of plans going forward, just all sorts of new things being built, things being added on, new facilities. It was awesome. The visit out there was great. They took care of us. It was awesome. On the 14th, I went there on official visit, and it was just insane. The players, they were awesome. Coaching staff, I could tell that I was wanted there. You know, it was something like you could feel in the room. You walked in there, so it was exciting to be there.
Massive signing day today in Lamar with 9 seniors signing this afternoon. 3 of them going to play football. Cameron Sturgill signs today to play at Missouri S&T in Rolla, Missouri. The other two guys are going to stay teammates with Austin Wilkerson and Joel Beshore, also going to the GLVC, signing to play for Southwest Baptist.
I really just think the environment there, I got along with all the coaches. The coaches bring a lot of energy, and it just looked like a fun place to go to, and I really liked it.
You know, the coaches, since the day one, I kind of knew where I wanted to go, so the coaching staff and everything else like that, you know, it kind of felt like home. You know, they've got great culture and great atmosphere there, and they're building something, so I definitely wanted to be a part of that.
So I chose the school because it had the best academics for me. It had the major that I wanted, and throughout my recruiting process, I felt like these coaches and the players were the most genuine to me, and it just felt like home.
In Webb City, like every year, the Cardinals have a big signing day group. 7 Webb City seniors signed today, with 4 of those moving on to play football at the next level. Now, Trey Rotes is going to be a 2-sport athlete, signing to William Jewell football and track and field. Linebacker William Wolf is staying local to play at Pittsburg State. Offensive lineman Tom Mouser signs today to play at Missouri S&T, and this guy, Lucas Ott, gets a Division I opportunity. He'll be heading to Jonesboro, Arkansas to play for Arkansas State.
Primarily long snapper in the long run. I think for the first year, maybe try to work me in at defensive end or linebacker or one of the two, but in the end, definitely long snapper.
I chose S&T because I love the people there I've met so far, and I really like the atmosphere, and obviously the academics are great there.
In Southeast Kansas, we have a pair of CNC rivals who will be teaming up in college to play for the Pittsburg State Gorillas. In Frontenac, Mario Mangini signs today to stay home and play for PSU. Now, Mangini can do it all, really, but he's signing to play safety for the Gorillas. He's an all-state player for Frontenac, had 1,300-plus scrimmage yards and 16 touchdowns last year on offense, 56 tackles, a pick, and a fumble recovery on defense. Now, here he is getting his shot to play for his hometown team.
I've been to all the games, all home games mostly since I can remember. So I think just being in the atmosphere is going to feel amazing. The facilities, the coaches, kind of set a high standard over the years, so I think it was just an easy choice.
Joining him at Pitt State is Girard standout Luke Nigaman. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, and will convert from quarterback to tight end for PSU. He's led Girard to a 20-2 overall record the last 2 years, winning 2 district titles and a pair of regional championships, plus just a playmaker. Nigaman threw for 900 yards and 7 scores last fall, picked up 600 yards and 12 touchdowns on the ground.
Got a great program, great facilities, some of the best in the nation. You know, growing up, I've seen what they can do, and, you know, I want to be part of something special. So been able to see a lot of that stuff, and I know it's a special feeling as a fan watching, so I can't imagine what it's like playing. So I'm pretty excited.
Today is simultaneously one of my favorite days of the year, one of the most stressful days of the year, one of the busiest days of the year, but it's always cool to see these guys get their opportunity to do what they love.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, there's such a small percentage of people that get to go on and play at the collegiate level regardless of what level it is. So it's always awesome to see people accomplish their dream and look forward to those that'll sign later on. But big congrats to everybody that was able to do it today.
It's fun for me to follow them once they get to college, too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that's it for sports. We'll be back with more after the break. The iconic monarch butterfly isn't going down without a fight. Wildlife experts say the western population of the insect is rebounding after a devastating plunge back in 2020. Fox News correspondent Marion Rafferty reports.
Pesticides, habitat destruction, and climate change continue threatening monarch butterflies. It was just last summer the International Union for the Conservation of Nature listed the migratory monarch butterfly as endangered. But the western population in North America, which heads to portions of California for the winter months, is showing signs of recovery.
This is really exciting.
Biologists at the Xerces Society, a nonprofit conservation group, are now revealing the results from their recent count of western monarchs back in November.
Volunteers surveyed 272 overwintering sites, estimating a grand total of 335,479 monarch butterflies.
In 2021, officials counted nearly 250,000.
To see that number tick up even more, a little bit modestly this year, is really a good sign.
Wildlife experts say this second consecutive year of growth is incredible, considering the 2020 count yielded less than 2,000 butterflies. Still, 30 years ago, numbers of western monarchs were reported in the millions.
We still have a long ways to go for recovery.
Biologists are still trying to figure out what's behind the sudden butterfly boom. Some predict monarchs from the east, which usually migrate to Mexico in the winter, could be mixing in with monarchs from the west. The Xerces Society also does a New Year's count of the butterflies to see how the insects fared throughout the winter. Those numbers are expected later this month. In Los Angeles, Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Coming up, we now know the title for the upcoming sequel to The Batman. That and more Hollywood news next. The Batman sequel gets a title and a release date. Pop icons plan a special weekend for their fans and more. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with the latest from Hollywood Nation.
The bad boys are back. Driver multiplies and The Dark Knight plans a return in the Hollywood Nation.
Matt Reeves' Batman.
The Batman sequel will head to the big screen in a couple of years. DC Studios co-head James Gunn announced the sequel, The Batman Part 2, will be released October 3rd, 2025. Robert Pattinson will reprise his role as the Caped Crusader, with Matt Reeves returning to direct. In addition, The Batman is being turned into a trilogy of films.
Hi, Adam, nice to meet you.
Adam Driver shares his many sides in a new teaser for Squarespace's upcoming Super Bowl commercial. The video gives a look from behind the scenes of the shoot, featuring the Oscar-nominated actor playing alongside different versions of himself, all wearing the same suit.
We'll call it BlockCon.
New Kids on the Block will be hosting their first fan convention this spring. BlockCon will be an all-weekend immersive experience that will kick off with an intimate concert by the pop icons. It will also include daytime panels, special exhibits, and a prom-themed party. The 3-day event will be held in Chicago at the Rosemont Theater and the Donald D. Stevens Convention Center starting May 26th.
One last time. One last time.
And Will Smith and Martin Lawrence will return to the streets of Miami as detectives Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett. In a video posted on social media, the duo confirmed Bad Boys 4 is officially in the works.
But this is Bad Boys 4. It's official.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of a tree kangaroo at the Chester Zoo in England. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.